Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vinny Eastwood Show. My very special guest joining me now from a nice health expo, the Thunder and Light team. Brad and Thunder, welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, thank you.
It's been a long time no see. What's up?
It's been a great year, and sharing with what we got going for the year when we kicked it off in January.
Yeah,
and
Vinny, you blew our minds, brother. You got an amazing audience, and your audience. I mean, we're trying to help you expand this market of New York City. Me and Coach B-Rad just took a big bite out of the Big Apple, and we have you broadcast live up here. We're broadcasting this live from the New Life Expo, where we had 93 amazing speakers and some of the most leading, cutting-edge healing and modality sciences I've seen in my life. So it was, it was an epic weekend just to get started here.
Okay.
14,000 people through the door here at the expo where we're filming this live, and hope we're coming in clear because we got a lot to share.
You're live on this giant big screen, Sonytron right now. We have Vinny Eastwood in New York City. Yay!
Hey, well, due to my previous cannabis convictions before becoming an activist, I never thought I'd get overseas, but I beat you to the punch. That's right. Frack you, authorities. I don't like the authorities very much, They're just not all that good. And in fact, speaking of authorities,
you'll be a superstar out here.
When we're talking about the medical fields in America and all of that kind of thing, one thing that actually really speaks to me about this is that the medical industry, indeed the American Medical Association, apparently is one of the world's leading causes of death, or rather America's literally leading cause of death. And so when
American Murder Association,
the Fraud and Death Administration as well, on top of that, the approval of drugs and all of these treatments kill people and don't help the diseases. So naturally, when somebody comes along that actually is capable of saving people and destroying the diseases, they're crazy, obviously, and they're bad people who are just out to make a buck and just out to hurt people through complete irresponsible means. So you guys are you're just evil men, all right? I can't really say it anybody.
Terrible people.
I love how they flip the script. It's like we're out trying to help people with frequency embedded technology, and it's not a cheap knockoff of a plant that's patented. It's actually the energetic essence captured into a digital medium that we can parlay on for people's benefits and their environmental protection and health and energy efficiency. And we're the bad guys in the grand scheme of things amongst the establishment, but we're not. We're common men doing good work, and we actually care. And that's why we have our affiliate program. That's why we're sharing is caring, and we're all about it. It's been a great year, and we do want to give you a little pat on the back for giving us the time early in the year to get it all kicked off.
You threw us on the planet, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I've been doing that a long time for a number of years, and I don't know about you, but when you see somebody who's either in trouble or somebody that needs help, often they won't ask for help even if they need it. So the goal is basically to just offer it to those people very freely.
Yeah.
Whether or not you believe in what somebody's doing, I think is absolutely irrelevant. I think what is relevant is has people heard about it before? Have people really considered it before? And when it comes to holographic imprinting and technology and the purposes of health and balancing the environmental, whatever it is, the environment within particular areas, by sticking the plastic on the windows and actually changing the temperature and all of that kind of stuff, I hadn't heard of that before. I doubt many other people had heard of it before, so it's the only reason I really need to actually start listening to it.
Right.
We've just been lighting it up. I mean, we had Automotive History sent last week in Vancouver, Canada, 3,000 miles away. The general manager of a company that manufactures testing smog equipment. I had us on our, like we are now, on our Skype. We had our network that we were on, and he was demonstrating to us how to use his technology, showing us how to walk through the smog steps and how to calibrate the equipment. So I sent a text message to him, and he threw his phone underneath the car, and as he's watching the numbers drop to 0, he doesn't even know how to tell his superiors, and he's the general manager. He's like, Thunder, they're going to think I'm insane for selling you this device. And based on what you're telling us, how you're doing this. So we posted that up on our Facebook for people to watch that live cut. And at the show here, we've been doing the same thing. We've been just out there text messaging, giving our products away, and made an impact to a conscious, like you say, people who haven't heard of this before. We made a valid conscious impact to those who thought they were enlightened.
What I say is that if somebody's never heard of something and then they hear of it for the first time and then say it's complete BS, I always found that very interesting. How could you know something's not true if you've never even heard of it before, or even taken 2 seconds to investigate what it is that's actually being claimed, or the technology? Have you ever seen that before?
Never.
No, we don't come against that. That's unhealthy skepticism.
That sounds like a juror in an OJ trial. That's a skeptic is someone who has an opinion and they haven't even been given a conclusion.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Thunder was alluding to is the 5-gas analyzer. We stuck up a tailpipe and watched the hydrocarbons go from 160 down to 2. Watched the nitrogen oxides go down to 0. The carbon oxides go to 0.
And these guys build the equipment. You know, I mean,
and that's the real-time sniffer, the real-time evidence that's going to dispel that. So we let the technology speak for itself. We don't mince words. We just let the technology speak. We'll do a lemon test, do the 5-gas analyzer, do the thermal test, and I don't got to say anything. I just let the technology and the numbers speak with the real-time sniffer equipment that we've gotten our hands on here in the last few months. That leaves people speechless, and that's what we want. The less the better. Just let the technology speak for itself, and that saves us from the disbelief. The more we say, the less they believe.
Yeah. The only thing I can say anymore now is, what do you want me to say? It works.
Yeah. Well, this reminds me of, what was it? Have you seen the new movie, the Tom Cruise one, Edge of Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
This is no. Even if you haven't seen it, it's kind of like, have you ever seen Groundhog Day, where a guy lives the same day over and over? Well, he tried to figure out over the many times trying to explain things to people during that movie exactly what to say before explaining things to them, and this is what he came up with. What I'm about to tell you will sound incredibly crazy, but it's going to make more sense the longer I continue to explain it.
It will.
And that's about it, isn't it? And what that really says to me is that the more you listen and the less that you interrupt and the more you actually investigate, the more things will make sense to you. And I think that because people are afraid to investigate something which they're not basically consciously willing to accept as yet, I think that's more or less, it's like a global mental catastrophe that is holding the entire human race back from actually learning something for a change.
So true.
It's Control-Alt-Delete. We need to reprogram. We need to step outside the box. What we've been told is a spoonful fed of lies, and there's more to the truth. It's not all secularized. There is common underlying tones. The beautiful part is, David Wilcock and Nassim Harriman, all these guys, everything that they're talking about validates our technology. That's the beautiful thing. We're living in a holographic, natural multiverse.
And that in itself is... sorry, go ahead.
That's good. It just brings more credence to other people, but they're talking about it and we're doing it. I'm not saying they're not doing it, but we're putting it in your hand, on your card, on your drink, on your gas tank, on your cell phone. Like applied science, as Thunder said, it's not theoretical. We're not counting stars. We're giving people real-time solutions, next-level solutions here behind my head.
Show him this big screen, Vinny. We love your smile. Show Vinny big screen moment there. I mean, Vinny, we got you blasted up here in front of New York on the 18th story big screen blasting you out in New York City.
Just to see what we're dealing with there. We got mobs of people swarming around and digging on what we've got.
No, Mr. Eastwood is not here. You cannot have his autograph. Please stand behind the tape.
We're gonna like try to do some kind of digital, penmanship, majiggery-do. I don't think it's gonna happen, bro.
Lady's asking for your interview, for your autograph.
Hey, in fact, there's the next generation of technology that you guys could do, like how to bitch slap somebody through the internet. You know, like, no, I'm not giving you my autograph.
Oh my God, we do that.
Send us a picture.
Yeah.
Just make your body hair fall off. Come on, it's more fun.
But what's problematic about that is, of course, something that you plan to avoid with any of your technologies, Thunder, is the ability to weaponize the things that you're making. And, you know, if anybody's looked into scalar technology and the great dangers that are actually there, you know, you can literally make somebody's heart skip a beat and kill them just like that with certain things like this. And it's part of the tendency of good men and women to create things for completely altruistic reasons and face whatever consequences come at them, because there's always like an establishment. What was it Steve Jobs said? He said the people that are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're crazy enough doing it.
We're the crazy ones. We're the total flip script, and it's manifest destiny, and the beautiful subtle energy shift invoked by the technology is helps people get over that hump and believe that, you know, you're not programmed for pay taxes, shit, and die. You can actually, you know, do something and make a change and put in a dent in this, and it happens one person at a time at expos like this, where you get to interact with people. It's not a passing on links and sending Facebook little blurbs. It's, you know, feeling the shift in people as you explain it. I know when I talk about the technology, I get excited and it parlays, and I see people get flipped on by it. It's like having a kid. You live through their experiences. That's what sharing, and it's like you get the eye-dropping, jaw-dropping face when you have their lemon change, or the taste of their lemon change. I kind of get off on that. It's kind of weird, but I enjoy seeing people flipped on by the technology.
Well, I think maybe you enjoy having success when everybody says, no, it can't work, it won't happen. It's the same thing my producer said to me when I started off being a talk radio show host, is that there'll be a whole lot of people who are like that, who won't support you, won't help you, who will not in any way, shape or form try to introduce you to others, who might actually help you to make a difference and things like that. Those people on your calling list, they might have been your friends for decades or something like that. Basically, you've got to just stop calling them. And if they are your friends and if they really do support you, they'll start calling you. And sometimes you just kind of have to love other people enough just to let them go.
It's love.
We've rolled through enough friends to realize who's on our side and who's in the gray matter, and, you know, who's fallen to the dark. But we're ascending, we're helping others. We're helping people, and that's the bottom line. That's what is what everyone needs to do. It's we're all in this together, and the sooner we accept that and use technology for us, not against us, the better off we're going to be.
Hey, Vinny, this is a great time. I want to make this announcement here for you, special. You really, I mean, I have people around the world that say, we found you because of the Vinny Eastwood show. And I had absolutely not a clue of the impact that you have worldwide. I am ready and prepared to gift Mr. Vinny Eastwood the 5-year exclusive of Holograms Labs' technology to the country of New Zealand. Which means simply, Vinny, for the next 5 years, every one of the text messages that go to your country, you just earned yourself $1 on each one.
All right. Well, as they say on RoboCop, I'd buy that for $1.
We have 60,000 digital recipes. I imagine there's probably close to 13 to 15 million cell phones in your country. And I'll look that data up soon.
Well, there's like 4 million people, so naturally there's about 12 million cell phones.
Everybody needs a throw phone. Come on.
Well, the thing is an annoying thing with cell phones. I was just thinking about this today because I'd really like a smartphone, like one that can shoot in HD or whatever, because I'm always going out places and I don't bring my cameras with me, and I want to have that portable kind of technology, but I can't really afford it. So if anybody's got like about 10, spare smartphones or something like that, I'd really love one of them.
We just helped the Vinny Eastwood to go global like we are right now off of our cell phones. Broadcasting to a big screen on a Bluetooth. I mean, wow! Isn't that fun?
Well, it is fun. However, the electromagnetic frequency and radiation that comes off of Bluetooth is actually quite significant.
I agree.
It's just a side issue, but I had Paul Waddell from safespace.co.nz. He's one of only 3 people in New Zealand who's qualified to check an area for, like, he's got all these devices to check the radiation and everything. He came into my office and
Awesome.
I was bathing in 15,000 microwatts of readings, and that was from like 3 or 4 different sources inside my office alone.
Right.
And it's not like with other things where you just kind of like interpret the strongest signal. It's actually one on top of the other on top of the other, all combining. And after he checked my house, got me to turn off my Bluetooth on the Mac and that kind of thing, I was down to 2 microwatts instead of 15,000. And so I'm feeling a lot. I mean, it's kind of like, it reminds me of the old WWF, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? And it's actually like, oh my God, it was me that was cooking.
Invite him back to your house and shoot some videotape, and we'll send you some stuff to have a before and after comparison. That would be so epic to use in our promos at our next shows.
Now, the other
We can
element...
chill that out with the text or a hologram or both.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty, where the holograms are going into the text. We're using the phone to heal and not to give you, cancer in your groin or your pocket. We can actually chill out the EMF with the text and then add frequencies to turn your phone to a quantum rife type machine.
Did you say a quantum wife?
Quantum rife, RIFE.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's like the leash that won't quit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I also wanted to talk about the element behind testing and actual scientific verification of the technology, because one of my other sponsors, Blue Shield, again a New Zealand company, has recently just started to do blood testing on people to see whether or not their cells are reacting the same way to being exposed to wireless radiation and what have you. And they found out that finally, they've actually got the evidence. The actual cellular biology is less affected by the radiation signals because of this technology that they're using. And the same with you guys, when you're talking about your ability to reduce smog, when you've got somebody there with a device, because let's face it, most of the things in the universe, we don't actually have the sensors to be able to pick up what's going on. We can't see ultraviolet, we can't see infrared, we can't detect electromagnetic radiation signals and be able to interpret exactly what their strength is, the whole 9 yards. So when it comes down to it, all the things that people really want to see, these people who are like stuck in the left brain or whatever it is, they really just want to see that data. They want to see that evidence. And you've finally been able to actually come across with it. And it's really, really exciting.
Yeah, it is. And that's the validation, third-party validation that speaks for itself and gets us, or the affiliates, out of the way, and just lets the technology again speak for itself. And that's what... you don't want to tell, you just want to show, like show and tell in second grade. You don't want to talk all about it, just show them until you experience it with your 5 senses or a sniffer that has a real-time measurement on it. You're really not going to believe it, but you're telling me a trippy postage stamp or a text message is going to do all that? Yeah, it is. How's it work? It works well.
To second grade show and tell of blowhorn, and he was yelling at the principal, "Do you know what this guy has done?" Dude, you are awesome, bro. When you get out there, I much prefer you over Alex Jones. I really do. Your method is comical, cool. His is a little Well, it's a little intrusive, invasive, and damn right, anger management issues that need to be considered. You, Vinny, when you go out there in front of these politicians, you embarrass them. Thank you.
Well, I did chase one down the street with a megaphone, and
I had to rewind. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
That's all. It was so great. Just rewind that. Just see what he did.
I mean, the thing that's really great about it is that they don't expect it. They don't really see it coming.
Everyone.
I mean,
Train them how, Vinny.
Yeah.
You're training them how. Thank you.
well, I have a Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brad.
No, I'm just saying you're calling them out as you see them, and you're just telling them the truth. They need to hear that from a real, rational person, and not some yes sir guy.
Yeah. Well, I think they mostly need to hear it from somebody who's a bit of a comedian, because I don't know if you guys have realised this through your long lives by comparison to mine, but a thing about the truth is that sometimes it's actually really, really funny, and often you won't believe it unless it's done in the context of comedy. I mean, let's face it, why can't we have a few laughs about it? I mean, sure, we're being enslaved and ruthlessly criminally dominated by scum and pedophiles and what have you, and the government, but hey, it doesn't mean we can't have a few laughs about it, does it? I mean, otherwise, what's the point of living, and what's the point, more to the point, of being exterminated if you can't have fun while you're doing it?
Well, I learned in 7th grade laughing increases your white blood cell count. I became class clown in 9th and 10th grade. I took that to the nth degree. I'm still cracking jokes, and it is like your show says, lighter side of genocide, man. You coined it.
Yeah.
You got to bring light to the heavy matters at hand, because really it does help break the ice and increase your...
Speaking of which, I will actually just now give you an example of what I mean for your listeners and what have you. This is the new Barack Obama.
Is there a new president?
This is your new president here. If you look up on the screen, it's the seal of the sock puppet of the United States.
Seal of the sock puppet of the United States.
Beauty, man.
Hope you enjoyed that.
It's official. Instead of pulling strings, they're just shoving their fists up his ass.
Hey, it cuts out the middleman.
They're not even pulling strings anymore.
Putting it up there.
They're just shoving it right up his ass to make him talk.
Do you do the voiceovers on that one?
I wouldn't even try Obama.
I don't know how to.
I see a lot of pointing.
In fact, maybe we should put it up there again. But here we go. Here's another one that I thought was really amusing. Have you ever seen the film The Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
Smokey, my friend, you are entering a world of pain.
Yes.
That's what it, man. If you got, life's short, and if you can't appreciate it, and laughter is a higher sign of intelligence, it really does help to break the ice and convey.
You can't tell a good joke, just drink Drano. What purpose are you?
Yeah, I mean, if there's anybody who would validate drinking Drano for a living, it would be the American Medical Association. Okay, let's give you a vaccine. What's in the vaccine? We can't tell you. Really? Is that by chance because it's got the worst toxic chemicals known to man in them? Well, probably. But just take it anyway. It'll be good for you. It'll be good for everybody else who doesn't take it either, because there's no such thing as frickin' herd immunity. Why do they call it herd immunity? Because we're a herd of cattle to be killed. That's basically it. I could be wrong.
Doesn't kill you. Yeah, sheeple doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, but that's not the case with the little pinch that they're giving you. It ain't, we've been in the elevator, always been about Ebola. It's just like the CNN Fear Factor show, and people just screaming about Ebola. I mean, it's not the seed, it's the soil. If you're alkaline, oxygenated, you got some silver, you got some oxygen, you can overcome. And it's so overplayed in the media because they're owned by the drug companies, they're owned by the petrodollar and all that. So it really is. A little slap in the face, but people are fighting through that, and that's kind of where we're at. And people are here at this Conscious Life Expo, or New Life Expo, excuse me. People get it more, but you're out in the streets and people are more fear factor. Here it's more enlivening. It's a great crowd, but out on the streets it's not a great crowd. It's kind of ho hum. So
Well,
intense.
do a test.
Yeah.
Do a test. If you ask the people in the conference, hey, everybody, put your hands up if you don't own a TV anymore, and then go outside and ask the same question. There'll probably be a lot less people inside than out.
How many of you guys own a TV? Raise your hand.
own a TV?
Watch TV.
I love it how people own a TV but they don't watch it.
Watch. Yeah. No.
You see, I rest my case. The less television you watch, the more aware you become. I saw an incredible picture on Facebook. It had a dude sitting there in front of the television watching the news, and the newscaster's going, "Oh my God, how are we going to reduce the terror?" And the guy goes, "Click," and turns the TV off.
I changed. Watch some comedy. That's how.
It's as simple as that. Turn off the constant mind control. And watch the Vinny Eastwood show, because it's like, sporadic mind control. It's only once in a while,
Even the language. Stay tuned for your regularly scheduled programming. I mean, it's right in the language. It's all hidden in the words,
We're gonna turn it real loud for the commercials.
Yeah.
They pay for your programming.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they pay for your programming, and then you get programmed by their programming, which programs you to go out and buy their products, which they paid for
Isn't
to
this
program you.
circle?
It's a closed loop, and it kind of works.
Break the
and
loop.
how exactly do you find the edge of a circle? You can't, because you keep going round and round and round. And I think it's been since January, actually, since the last time I interviewed you guys, the TV's no longer in our house. And I don't miss it. I really don't. And it's funny because this has been the first New Zealand election that I've gone through without watching any election coverage. And you know what I found very interesting? Is that my election coverage, without watching any mainstream media, was so much better than all of the mainstream media's election coverage that they actually banned my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I heard about
saw
that.
that.
Yeah,
We were a little
involved
upset
in
here.
that, and that's who you stuck the fork in on?
Yeah.
You know what, if you're now for the first time finding Vinny Eastwood, congratulations, and download his stuff and file it, because Vinny Eastwood is doing it the way it needs to be done. If you are still listening to lamestream media and being told propaganda lies, then just sit in the toilet and flush yourself, because you are a piece of, and you can fill in the blank. However, there are others who are out there like Vinny, who is in the front line of reporting what's going on globally based on what he is finding from other members like we are and like he is. It becomes a global naked news without the porn. Keep up the good work.
Although, I wonder if I'd get more listeners if I did my shows naked.
I don't
Just picture the rest of the crowd naked.
I can't see the crowd from where you guys are, but they must have all just gone, yeah.
People are surrounding us, just
Yeah.
who is this guy? Is that Vinny Eastwood? Where's he at? They're looking up around the booth. They think we got him behind your curtain here, and we're like,
Yeah. Well, I probably do. I'm like the New Zealand Wizard of Oz. I'm the Wizard of NZ. The Wizard of
Right on.
NZ. Yeah, there we go. That
Like
works.
that.
I do like that. I like to be the man behind the curtain.
okay.
In fact, considering
Nice.
this, you've been talking about teaching other people, and since my YouTube channel got taken down, it's allowed me certain freedoms. And the freedom to basically stop doing YouTube videos all of the time allowed me to start producing new New Zealand radio content, for actually producing other Kiwis to do their own shows. And it's like, you can either earn 100,000 listeners for yourself, or you can help 10 people to earn 10,000 listeners each and still do the same amount of damage to the mainstream media. And that's sort of what I'm starting to focus on now. And that's what happens when anything bad in my life occurs, is I try to find a way to make it right and do something even worse as a result.
Yeah. Well, one door closes and 3 doors open up, and then you were, stymied by YouTube, but you found a way to resolve, and you slithered to left to right, and always forward, never straight, and you got more opportunities, and you're the hub, and you got more spokes, and now your wheels got more turn, and it's happening, and that's what we're doing with the affiliates. We can't sell them all, so we cut people in to help share it, and that's the beauty of it. Sharon's caring, and that's the only way it's going to make a dent. It's a team effort, We're all kind of trying to do the same good thing, and people in the establishment plays on that and flips the scripts on us, and that's why you're letting people in to help hub and spoke out more to get more consciousness to bubble up, and that's what we're doing with what we have, and that's really the model to exemplify in today's tech savvy world where we can do all this and have it work for us and not against us.
I was on the UnitedWeStrike.com monthly marathon one time, and I was just waiting to go on, and the guest that they had on before me said something, and I've been using it ever since because it's really quite brilliant. Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something.
Thank you.
Beautiful, yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And we have the media and the platforms like yourselves where people can tune in. With a lot of people tuning in these internet radio shows more than there are Springer and Donahue, whatever else is out there, Oz, and people are over it. They're kind of waking up. Hit the snooze bar, but you're blasting the horn. We got the air horn over here, and we're putting the right frequencies into them, and you cannot, like Lincoln said, you can fool some of the people sometimes, not all the people all the time, And that's where we're at now, is people are waking up, and it couldn't be any sooner, because it's like if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would get done.
Yeah. I was actually, I had a bit of a stoush with my former co-host recently, and I don't know, I was never really receiving benefit for doing what I'm doing, okay? I wasn't really receiving recognition, I wasn't really receiving much money, and it was really, really difficult, and my life was a lot harder because I chose to do the right thing. And he was experiencing the same thing as I, except he stopped doing it, and I didn't. And for me, it's about justification for what you do. The world's in trouble, and I think that you have to do the right thing for no other reason than it's the right thing to do, because it needs no further justification than that, and you don't really have much of a choice once you see the reality that we're faced with. And if you choose to abdicate your responsibility to the safety and the benefit of the human race, heaven help you.
That's all you gotta do, brother.
Yeah, it's not about getting a paycheck and having your family fed for. It's about knowing what's right and taking a hit.
Feels so good.
Yeah, and in the long run, we're better off for it. It may be a little down and out for a while that we're going against the grain, but salmon always get to spawn. So we're upstream, and the eggs are going back to sea now. We're going to populate this thing right, and it's just the way it's got to be. Light turns dark. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that scene in Face Off when he goes, I hope they're in jail and stuff, and they always show them like nature videos on the big screens, and he goes, I hope they show the salmon spawning scene again. I found it intensely erotic.
His brother should have never got out of prison.
Yeah, apparently he didn't. Oh my goodness. Hey, and in fact, speaking of getting out of prison, it seems to me that this whole Ebola scare really, really nasty, and I want to talk to you about Dr. Rima Labo. She'd been down in South America, and she found a patent on a Department of Defense nano-silver product that was in fact tested and being effective at neutralizing Ebola in their test subjects. And so she managed to replicate the design and create the nano-silver, and has sent it out to many, many people all over the world. It's literally the only known protection from Ebola, and if the Department of Defense aren't people who dot their I's and cross their T's when it comes to bioweapons research, I don't know who is. And guess what Chase Manhattan Bank did? They froze their accounts. they had $104,000 worth of orders all ready to ship, and Chase Manhattan froze their money.
That didn't go against their stock portfolio.
This was the day after the New York Times slammed them all over the front pages or something like that as oh, you're a fraud, you're a scam artist, or something like that. And in the same issue of the newspaper, tell everybody to take the vaccines, which is untested, ineffective, and quite frankly dangerous. And reports seem to have been coming out of, I think, Sierra Leone, by the... what was it, the health minister or the communications minister, saying that the nanosilver works, and then more reports have come out that the Ebola threat is actually more of a hoax. And somebody reported that the only people who he's found that have actually died from Ebola were people who were given the Ebola vaccine.
Seems to be the only ones. Yeah, we haven't seen anybody get it who didn't get a shot first.
Yeah.
Flip the scripts, man.
That's a little weird.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that it's way back in the day. I think it was the 1911 Spanish flu. The U.S. troops who were inoculated against the vaccine, Henry L. Stimson, I think he was a general at the time, reported that the virus, the Spanish flu virus at the time, was a disease only contracted by those who were given a vaccine. So let's run that down to its logical conclusion. Vaccines are bioweapon delivery systems, and if you're stupid enough to be given that, it's really, really too late to save you, kind of thing. You know, you can't force a horse to drink water, as they say. And also, Mark Twain once said, it's far easier to convince somebody of a lie than it is to convince them that they've been lied to. And so it makes saving these people who want to go out and get the vaccines all that much harder for those who know the truth.
The real question I ask is, according to who? That's really what you're going to find the answer to the questions you ponder in life. Oh, according to who? Well, according to, look what they have to gain. Now, let's back up. So, we just asked, according to who? Where did the information come from? And there's so many people here, Brad. Look at this.
All the money.
Vinny, you got a following in this town. We're like mobs. It's not the Beatles. This is really Vinny Eastwood here. Back up, everyone. We have a lot. Wow, we had no idea.
Yeah.
So just according to who? Now, if you're a researcher like yourself who's out there in the field and picking up stories from people around the world, then we hold that to a high grain of reliability. If we're watching what is on all of the major networks and in the newspaper at the very same time, and it came from the AP Wire.
It's the same 6 companies that run the
That's
world.
it? That's who it's according to?
Only one person? By chance, were there any sources that they revealed? I don't know, it was an anonymous source. When you say anonymous source and you're a mainstream media entity, does that mean that basically you just made stuff up?
You in the witness protection program?
Yeah. And ultimately, you can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. It's not... people aren't that creative, all right? And I think... what was it somebody said to me the other day on a show? He instantly corrected himself after he said it when we disagreed with him. He was like, oh yeah, of course. He said, it can't get any worse. And it was just like, bro, there's no upper limit to scumbaggery, is there? There's no upper limit to corruption. However long you allow it to happen, that's how long it will continue to grow. That's how much longer it will continue to get worse. It only stops when we make it stop. And I think that television is part of the great ruse of society, that you can actually sit there and passively participate as a spectator on the sidelines and expect that you'll score the touchdown and be the big hero. The reality is you actually have to take the hard knocks on the field, and you have to run faster than other people in order to get the game won. And that takes sacrifice, and it takes commitment. And unfortunately, the politicians, when they speak of sacrifice, sacrifices have to be made, they're never talking about self-sacrifice. They're always talking about sacrificing us, about sacrificing our liberties, sacrificing our freedoms, sacrificing our families, sacrificing the young men who go over to die in illegal wars. They never talk about sacrificing themselves for the greater good. And that is the real difference, I think, between people who want to make a positive change. They usually give it to you without needing anything in return because they have to, really, in a moral obligation sense of the word. And those who wish for you to follow, those who wish for you to stop questioning, those who wish for you to give up things so that they can live a better life are not doing it for the altruistic reasons that they tell you they are, and they never have. And people have forgotten that.
They don't want to be shattered. Their whole belief system is shattered when something like what we're doing or what you're doing comes across. It's a challenge to their whole upbringing. They don't want to disbelieve what they were programmed that is according to their world, and that challenges their whole belief system. And they'd rather go on watching TV and in La La Land than have to retrain, go back to the drawing board, take your kicks, School of Hard Knocks, and then reformulate yourself 2.0 and know what's going on really on this in this planet of ours at this time is a curve that people don't want to. They want to stay in that, La La Land. So it challenges the whole belief system. I can understand what the fight, but the sooner you succumb to what's really going on, the sooner your families and your friends won't have to take shit from the establishment that is being handed down as like it's the golden ticket at the Wonka bar. Yeah. It's not. It's an old shit to hoe, and we're all over it. And these events and what you're doing is the new
spreading the word.
Yeah, that's how it's going to happen, man. You can't keep a good word down. It just undulates. Yeah.
What you're doing here is going.
Well, the thing is, I'm not avoiding suffering and avoiding pain because it's more convenient for me, and I think that's people's problem. Name me a bodybuilder who hasn't worked through the pain in order to build those muscles.
Ray Holland.
Doesn't
no
happen.
growth in the comfort zone is what I would say in the weight room.
Yeah. The less comfortable you are with your life, the more likely you are to change it. And I think the people of America in particular, but it's of course very, very similar here in New Zealand and Australia and Canada and England and all of our westernized nations, we have an obsession with comfort and convenience. And it's only once your discomfort comes to such a level that you will realize that you're not comfortable with anything anymore unless you do something about it. That's why you feel horrible. It's why you feel angry. It's why you feel afraid, because you're meant to be doing something about it. Your body is telling you something. Don't ignore your instincts, because they'll lead you on to greener pastures. Now, guys, thank you very much for stopping in today on the Vinny Eastwood Show, and I'm very glad to say hello, everybody at the festival McThingy. I'm very glad to meet you all too, even though I don't know your names and may never meet you in my life because I'm a criminal and not allowed to come into the continental US. But yeah. All right, and thank you very much. And I'm just going to be jumping on to another show now. I have another 4 hours of radio to record today on my Sunday, so it's going to be fantastic.
Thanks
Love
for putting
seeing
us
you,
in,
brother.
man. Keep it up. We'll talk soon. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
No time like the present, no present like the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they call it the present, because it's a gift. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Vinny.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vinny Eastwood Show. My very special guest joining me now from a nice health expo, the Thunder and Light team. Brad and Thunder, welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, thank you.
It's been a long time no see. What's up?
It's been a great year, and sharing with what we got going for the year when we kicked it off in January.
Yeah,
and
Vinny, you blew our minds, brother. You got an amazing audience, and your audience. I mean, we're trying to help you expand this market of New York City. Me and Coach B-Rad just took a big bite out of the Big Apple, and we have you broadcast live up here. We're broadcasting this live from the New Life Expo, where we had 93 amazing speakers and some of the most leading, cutting edge healing and modality sciences I've seen in my life. So it was, it was an epic weekend just to get started here.
Okay.
14,000 people through the door here at the expo where we're filming this live. And hope we're coming in clear because we got a lot to share.
You're live on this giant big screen, Sonytron right now. We have Vinny Eastwood in New York City. Yay!
Hey, well, due to my previous cannabis convictions before becoming an activist, I never thought I'd get overseas, but I beat you to the punch. That's right. Frack you, authorities. I don't like the authorities very much, they're just not all that good. And in fact, speaking of authorities,
superstar out here.
When we're talking about the medical fields in America and all of that kind of thing, one thing that actually really speaks to me about this is that the medical industry, indeed the American Medical Association, apparently is one of the world's leading causes of death, or rather America's literally leading cause of death. And so when
American Murder Association,
the Fraud and Death Administration as well, on top of that, the approval of drugs and all of these number of years. And I don't know about you, but when you see somebody who's either in trouble or somebody that needs help, often they won't ask for help even if they need it. So the goal is basically to just offer it to those people very freely.
Yeah.
Whether or not you believe in what somebody's doing, I think is absolutely irrelevant. I think what is relevant is has people heard about it before? Have people really considered it before? And when it comes to holographic imprinting and technology and the purposes of health and balancing the environmental, whatever it is, the environment within particular areas, by sticking the plastic on the windows and actually changing the temperature and all of that kind of stuff, I hadn't heard of that before. I doubt many other people had heard of it before, so it's the only reason I really need to actually start listening to it.
right?
We've just been lighting it up. I mean, we had Automotive History Cent last week in Vancouver, Canada, 3,000 miles away. The general manager of
Treatments kill people and don't help the diseases. So naturally, when somebody comes along that actually is capable of saving people and destroying the diseases, they're crazy, obviously, and they're bad people who are just out to make a buck and just out to hurt people through complete irresponsible means. So you guys are you're just evil men, all right? I can't really say it to anybody.
terrible people.
I love how they flip the script. It's like we're out trying to help people with frequency embedded technology, and it's not a cheap knockoff of a plant that's patented. It's actually the energetic essence captured into a digital medium that we can parlay on for people's benefits and their environmental protection and health and energy efficiency. And we're the bad guys in the grand scheme of things amongst the establishment, but we're not. We're common men doing good work, and we actually care. And that's why we have our affiliate program. That's why we're sharing is caring, and we're all about it. It's been a great year, and we do want to give you a little pat on the back for giving us the time early in the year to get it all kicked off.
You threw us on the planet, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I've been doing that a long time for
A company that manufactures testing smog equipment. I had us on our, like we are now, on our Skype. We had our network that we were on, and he was demonstrating to us how to use his technology, showing us how to walk through the smog steps and how to calibrate the equipment. So I sent a text message to him, and he threw his phone underneath the car, and as he's watching the numbers drop to 0, he doesn't even know how to tell his superiors, and he's the general manager. He's like, Thunder, they're going to think I'm insane for selling you this device. And based on what you're telling us, how you're doing this. So we posted that up on our Facebook for people to watch that live cut. And at the show here, we've been doing the same thing. We've been just out there text messaging, giving our products away, and made an impact to a conscious, like you say, people who haven't